Hi, beautiful souls. I'm Elizabeth, and welcome to Untangling the Heart. This time is for you. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, whatever brings you a sense of comfort. Sit back, relax, and settle in. As you listen today, just notice what resonates for you. There may be something here that is meant just for you. It's so good to have you here. Today's episode is focusing on what helped me move beyond survival mode, transitioning from coping to thriving. And I can't wait to introduce my guest to you today. I'm honored to introduce Diana Ashworth. She is going to be sharing her heart-filled and resilient soul with us today, taking us with her on her journey of hope, healing, and rising above the challenge of a lifetime. Diana, I'm so grateful you're here today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Beautiful. I love being in your beautiful energy. So thank you, thank you. So let's begin. At the beginning, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I am Diana Ashworth. I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I live now in Kingston, which is North Georgia, about 2 hours away from Atlanta, with my husband of 23 years and my two grown sons. I have a passion for helping others,
Hmm.
and my work that I do now is centered around that. I love to make an impact on people's lives.
Oh, you just put it absolutely perfectly. And that word passion, right? I think that's why we connected from the very beginning, is I could see and feel the passion in you to help others. So I can't wait to
Mhm.
hear about your story. So will you share a little bit about your story with us, please?
Yes. In 2016, I was just going about life, working in corporate America, just doing the mom thing and the wife thing. And I had got diagnosed with a brain malformation actually the year before.
Hmm.
The brain malformation was Chiari malformation, and it's where your brain stem slips into your spinal canal. They wanted me to do surgery because they said without surgery, there would be a chance that I could die in my sleep. So I said, okay, I'll do the brain surgery. So 2016, May 16th, I did it, and I woke up and I couldn't feel my legs. I thought it was the anesthesia. I didn't know how serious it was at that time. They did an MRI and saw that I had had a stroke in my thoracic spine. And I was paralyzed from the chest down at that time. And after that, I started my journey of personal development and where I am now. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, obviously, you did everything that it was suggested for you to do to fix your health, your physical health. And obviously, this was totally unexpected and out of the blue.
Right.
And after you discovered what had happened with your paralysis and the result of everything that went on, like how in the beginning, how were you feeling emotionally? What were you experiencing internally?
Internally, I felt, the best way I can put it, I felt lost and confused.
Wow.
Yes. Because like you said, it was very unexpected, and I didn't know where to put my anger. You know, I was
Mm,
like, should I be mad at the doctor? Should I shouldn't have got the surgery. I just had so many questions running through my head at that time.
right.
Hmm.
So, I mean, did you, in that very moment, and I don't want to put emotions into what you were feeling, but was
Hmm.
it kind of like like a, when you said lost, was it almost like a panic, like, well, where do I go from here? I mean, if it were me, I think my mind would have been racing. Like, now
Right.
what? So
Hmm.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, my mind was just all over the place. You know, I didn't understand it really. Okay. I had heard of strokes, but I never heard of a stroke um, that happened in the spinal cord, a spinal stroke. So I was confused about that. Um, and I just, my emotions were just in my mind together, really. I wanted to know why.
Got it.
That was my biggest thing. What did I do wrong? Did they do something wrong in the surgery? I kept going back to the why. My mind was in different places, but it kept going back to that significant word every time.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That questioning, that not knowing, and I would imagine many of us have had a situation in our lives where almost we drop to our knees and say, "Why me? Why me? Why did
Yes.
this happen? What is the great and grander purpose, or is there a purpose, and how do I move forward from here?"
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So
And
what
that's how
did
I
you
felt.
and so what did you do at that point, in that very beginning point? I mean, obviously, you had a lot of physical work to do, or physical healing to do, but how did you move through that emotion of feeling lost, and the why me, and why, and questioning everything, and probably not being able to grip or hold on to anything at that moment? How did you move through that first part of your healing?
The first part of my healing, once I got past my mind just going all over the place and everything like that, I prayed and I
Mm,
leaned on my faith. And when I say I leaned on my faith, I asked God to guide my steps because I didn't know which way to go. So I asked God to show me how I should move forward. So I had to find a way to get through the trauma and the uneasiness, the hurt, and the only place that I knew that I could get through those emotions was through God.
wow. So, I'm getting a visual, almost as if, um, you knew at the moment, even though you didn't have the answers, and you probably knew somewhere down within inside of you that somehow you were going to get through the next step, and the next step, that you were going to move forward. But what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that, um, you went to your faith and God as your sanctuary, that safe
Mhm.
place
Right.
where you knew at some point you would receive some answers, maybe not right away,
Mhm.
of why, or maybe never answering why, but
Right.
a place where you were safe, where you could kind of absorb all of this. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, once you, prayed and leaned, more on your faith, and asked God for answers, what transpired after that? Was it a big shift? Was it just little things? Like, what came to you to move you toward who you are today?
After I leaned on my faith and, asked God to guide me, the next step that I did is I did some personal exploration. And when I say that, I went on a journey within myself
Mm,
and I really, really looked at myself and I would journal and, journal my emotions. Okay. What I was feeling, what happened that day. Like if I was able to move some that day, I would write that down. If I was able to do something different or, because you have to remember I had to figure out how to do everything, put on a shirt, get dressed, everything. So
wow.
I would journal when I was able to do things and how I did it, and I kept track of that. But when I went on my personal journey, I dealt with things and emotions and feelings that I had not dealt with from childhood, adolescence, my early 20s. I hadn't dealt with it. And when this injury forced me to really take a look at myself, and it humbled me, and it let me see what was really going on with me. Yes, the stroke happened, but it let me help me to really look at the things that had happened to me, why they happened to me, and get to the root cause of it. And that helped me with my personal development.
Wow. I mean, it feels like you were guided all along the way, and you probably intrinsically and internally knew what to do, but just needed your hand to be held and said, "Okay, you've got this," because you've laid out this incredible plan already. I'm sure there's more. I can't wait to hear more of how you move through this, but you began with the faith and you were open for that help, and I mean, you weren't afraid at that point to go deep
Right.
within and explore. And then I love what you just said too, is that you journaled all of the little things that you were able to accomplish,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Like learning how to, you mentioned putting on a shirt or, maybe brushing your teeth or something where Diana, we take all of that for granted.
Oh, yes, definitely. Mm.
And, we just move through life and we do all of those things. And uh, when you were brought to this space of, and you use the word humbleness, humility, right? Where
Mhm.
you had to start all over again with the things that we take for granted, you were able to finally have that bravery and that courage to go back to your emotions that you just had either turned off, blocked, ignored, were afraid to look at, whatever. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Mhm.
wh- how did you know? How did you know that that was a step for you to explore things that you never looked at before? Why was that healing for you?
I believe because of all of the trauma that I was dealing with at that time, um, from the stroke and all that trauma it caused me to look back at other trauma that I had experienced. And I thought I had dealt with it, with life and, kind of pushing it aside. What I would do is the previous trauma, I kind of pushed it aside, put it in a little box, and I would say, "Oh, I'll deal with that later. I'll deal with it in a couple of years." I've got my kids now. I'll discuss it later. But see, this injury, I spent so much time, alone because I was in rehab,
Mm,
and I spent so much time alone when I wasn't doing physical therapy or occupational therapy, and I was just by myself, you know? And it really made me think and go back and relook at my life. And I was like, I need to make some changes. I need to, since I'm on this journey, I need to reevaluate what has happened to me and how it really did affect me more than what I thought. So that's
wow.
how I did it. Mhm.
I mean, that's the the word that keeps coming up for me to express what you've gone through and how you're sharing with us is just remarkable. It's remarkable. And you, it feels like and sounds like you were put in a place where you basically had no choice but to finally go within and
Mhm.
look at and explore and express and shift and change what you had been holding on to previous
Right.
to that. Wow.
Yes,
So,
that's
and that's
exactly.
that's what I was going to ask you. When did you realize something needed to change? But that was it. So, when you started to come up with more awareness of these were the traumas and you were learning how to deal with them, where did you go from there? I mean, because obviously gorgeous and you're productive and you know you're here and helping others, right? So
Hmm.
how did you transition from going within and dealing with all of your past traumas and emotions,
Right.
and how did you get to where you are now?
You know, when I was doing the personal development and on that journey, after the stroke happened, I learned about how much inner strength and resilience I really had. I had never looked at it before. Um, Never had any reason to. I had got into this routine of um, getting the kids ready, going to work, coming home, doing all of that stuff. But I never really looked at me. I never did what Diana wanted to do. You know, I didn't want to go to college. I did not want to do the job I was doing. I wanted to do something to help people all the way at the beginning, but I was just going through the motions, doing what my mom told me to do and what I thought life was supposed to be like. But when I went through that journey and I reevaluated my life, I said, no, I'm going to do stuff for me now. I'm going to look at me and
Mm.
I'm going to find what I want to do. And so I did my journaling, I did my therapy, and each day I would progress more and more. And I finally got to go home. And, with my journaling and with God, I each day would get stronger. I went from not being able to sit in a wheelchair for 30 minutes to sitting in it for 13 hours. Each day I would build up more and more strength. And so once I got to the point where I could sit in a wheelchair and do stuff myself, I started to write. And I wrote and wrote and wrote. And it's like I poured my heart into that paper. And I even have papers, with tears on it. And in my Bible, you can see the tear marks because it really hurt me so bad when they said, "You'll never walk again." But what I didn't realize at that time when they said that, they said, "I'll never walk again," but they didn't say, "We took your will and your spirit too."
Wow.
You know? So I said, "I have to do what I can do," what my body will allow me to do. I have to take that, do that, and then move on from there. It's not about, "Oh, you can't walk." It's not about that. It's about what you can do. And when I got that mentality and really thought about that, that's when I was able to move on and be more productive and, start studying and getting certified and doing the things that I do now.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing is that you were faced with someone else telling you, and I'm not laying blame on anyone, but someone else telling you that you are limited.
Mhm.
But what you realized is that you are even more than just the physical body as we are, that they could not take this traumatic accident could not take your will and your spirit from you, which surpasses everything.
Yes.
And I would love to say that because you strengthened that you stepped into that and you recognized you within your will and within your spirit, that I'm sure that that helped you to make those tiny little steps of progress in your physical healing as well.
Oh, yes, it did. Mhm.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
what would this inner strength that you found, it was always there, but like you
Yes.
said, I love what you said, you going through the motions, right? How many of us in certain parts of our lives just go through the motions, get up, do, the routine, the whole thing, and we're not present to really our true divine power. It's there. We're just not
Yes.
present and aware of it, right?
Right.
And you said you decided at that point that you were going to focus on you. You said, I'm going to focus on me. What would you say to someone who hears that and says, oh, yes, but she went through this, and oh, yes, but she did this, oh, yes, but if I focus on me, I'm going to feel really selfish or guilty. What would you say to someone who says that, well, that for me, I'd feel selfish or guilty to focus on myself?
Yeah, I would say, focusing on yourself is not selfish, because we can, you know, get so depleted by doing this for others or doing this for our family, doing this for our spouses, their kids, whatever. We can get so depleted doing everything for everyone else, but you've got to take time for you.
Mm,
You have to, because that is so important to take time for you to just do that um, self love and that personal development. It's so important. So, anybody that, you know, that would say, oh, well, she focused on herself. You need to focus on yourself. You've got to.
right.
You've got to love you and you've got to love yourself and put forth that effort to do that.
All right. Well, love is an extremely high frequency and a high vibration.
Yes.
And really, when we approach any situation, whether it's just mundane in our lives or something tragic or even something in between, would you agree that we can look at that particular event
Hmm.
or that person in two ways? One, we can look at it in a judgmental way, like, oh, well, you're never going to walk again. Or we can look at it in another way of pouring love into that and saying, ah, yes, but what are the possibilities? And what can I accomplish? And it's the same person, the same relationship with that person, or it's the same event, or it's the same situation, but we have a choice of looking at things in two ways, and based on that is really going to either move us forward or hold us back. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just absolutely amazing. So, what does taking care of yourself look like these days?
These days taking care of myself is a lot of, self love and hobbies, you know, and, when I say that, I mean like painting, sketching. I found stuff that I'd like to do. And I take time, not just to work, but I take time to do the hobbies too, because they're good. It's good therapeutic for me, you
Well,
know?
and there's a balance, right? There's a balance of work, and work can be very satisfying, especially if you
Hmm.
love what you do. But
Right.
you said the writing, you write and you paint and hobbies. It's not just hobbies. Everything you described is using a whole other set of frequencies in our body, which is creativity,
Right.
right? Like you never know what's going to end up on that canvas. And I'm sure whatever you painted
Yeah.
would have certainly, certainly, because you've practiced as well. And I wouldn't mind painting. Maybe it would be just for me, but it's an
Hmm.
expression of your inner being, and it's a balance, right? It's
Right.
it's not
Mhm.
all living in the mundane, like you said, the going through the motions like you did before, and like many of us have done before. So, what is bringing you peace or clarity right now?
Right now, what brings me peace is God, number one. And number two, what brings me peace is knowing that I can do what I can do for myself. Okay. But I have to have boundaries, healthy boundaries,
Hmm.
as far as with my health and, my friendships, things like that, because those healthy boundaries are very important. And, also knowing that it's okay. I give myself grace, if I mess up or do something wrong, it's okay. I don't have to be upset or at myself or dwell on it for month after month after month. I can see that, okay, I did it. Made a mistake. I can fix it and move on, you know? So I'm a lot less, the word I would say, I'm a lot less easier on myself than I was. And that's made a big difference for me.
I love that. So it's okay to say no,
Yes.
and it's certainly a must to forgive yourself when you don't reach perfection every single moment.
Yes. Correct.
I love that. I love that. So, you've just given us this whole process of how to move through something that could be devastating in your life, and you had a big trauma. Some of us
Yeah.
go through smaller ones. Some of us go through tiny ones, and we just remain angry because of that. And that anger literally can break down your spirit, break down your will, break down your physical body as well. But you started with faith, personal exploration, right?
Yes.
Being vulnerable to yourself and allowing yourself to really look at yourself with courage, expressing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
allowing yourself to set those boundaries and say no and not feel pressured into saying yes when it didn't serve you, and forgive yourself and allow yourself grace.
Yes.
What a great formula. That is absolutely amazing. I just love our conversation. Thank you so much, Diana. So let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Where can listeners connect with you?
I have a website, which is Diana Ashworth createslife.com. And then I have my cell phone or work phone. It's 678 8865.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So, what really stayed with me and with us today is there's always a place to move forward.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can't stay stuck.
Nope.
Just take that
I
one.
mean, you can stay there a little bit and cry and get your tears out, but keep moving. Yep.
Mhm. Release the emotions that are holding you back.
Right.
Develop new, kinder, happier, more loving ones and embody those. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Diana, so much. I am so grateful for your openness and for sharing with us today.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
If one person came to mind while you were listening, please feel free to share this conversation with them. It was powerful because sometimes healing begins simply by realizing we're not alone. You can find Untangling the Heart on YouTube, LinkedIn, and wherever you enjoy podcasts. And be sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. Until next time, from my heart to yours.
We've all got stories we don't say out loud, little knots we hide away. You're not broken, you're just learning to be honest with what you feel today. This is untangling the heart, one brave breath, one tiny start, finding strength in every scar and every part. You're not falling apart, you're just untangling.